The polygraph. When Don disappeared in 1997, it was amid a horrible time in our life when he was acting so irrationally, and I was trying desperately to get him medical help. Instead, Ann McQueen, who you saw in the film, and his friend Wendell Williams were telling him that I was trying to have him committed to take his money away from him, which just terrified him. And then he up and disappeared, which was horrible for everybody involved because I knew there was something going on with him. He just wasn't right. He was going and getting in. He did this all the time. He would crawl into dumpsters and bring home all kinds of garbage. Everybody knew don't eat anything Don brings you because he got it out of a dumpster somewhere. But he would call me and he would be crying because he couldn't remember where he was, and he'd be stuck in a dumpster and not able to get out because he didn't have enough stuff to get himself piled up in the corner to get back out of the dumpster. And I'd be driving all around town trying to figure out which one of his favorite dumpsters he had managed to get himself into. And so when he showed up missing, I didn't know what was happening. And in the middle of all of that, when Don's secretary then decided that she was going to go to Don's kids and have them appoint her as the conservator of our estate after I had caught her in May putting over 600,000 or close to $600,000 of our property into her maiden name. This was in 1997. I had known her since 1981. She'd never used her maiden name before that I know of. And so all of this stuff was going on, and there was just so much emotion involved in it. And so and I say they meaning Anne and the daughters, had said that they had gone down and taken a polygraph test, and they asked me if I would do the same. And I said, sure, because I knew that she was lying to the kids, and I wanted them to know that there was no way that I was involved in harming their father. And so I thought a polygraph would be a great way to do that. And at that time, I only had a real estate attorney. I didn't have a criminal attorney because I didn't think I had any reason to need one. And so I told my real estate attorney that I was going to go down and take this polygraph. And they said I should contact a criminal attorney and ask them for their advice. So I did. And I contacted Ron Cacciatore, and he said, absolutely not. He said that whenever they give you a polygraph test, the only thing that it can do is tell whether or not you're having an emotional response. Well, for crying out loud, I was having all kinds of emotions going on. And so if you have an emotional response, they'll say you failed the polygraph, which then makes everybody think that I've done something horrible. And that was not my intent. My intent was to give them some peace of mind. And so he said, even if I were to pass the polygraph and not be emotional about the thought that my husband, my person that I had loved since I was 19 years old, has gone missing and I can't find him, if there's any way I can not be emotional about that, then what the police would say is that it was inconclusive. And by inconclusive, that would be taken to say that I'm this stone cold killer that has no emotional response. So it's like there was nothing good that was going to come out of that. I knew I didn't have anything to do with Don's disappearance. It wasn't going to help anybody find him, so there was absolutely no reason to take a polygraph then or now, 23 years later, when people are still accusing me of killing my husband. You just can't imagine how emotional, and I can feel myself getting worked up even saying this, how emotional that is to have people think something so horrific about me. There's no way I wouldn't have an emotional response to that. And that's why. There were other things about the polygraph that were not accurate. In 1997, when my attorney told me that I should not take the polygraph, that was the last time I ever remember discussing with the local sheriff's office or the FBI or any member of law enforcement taking a polygraph test. And I know that they said that I refused it 2011 and 2004. I think that they were just mistaken. I don't think that that happened. I don't remember that happening at all. And the other thing about a polygraph is, I mean, anybody can go online, because I did when people started really pressing about this, and look up the word polygraph, and it will tell you that it's not accurate. All it can do is measure an emotional response.